Welcome to the Full Nielsen. Today I'm going to be reviewing a couple of Armytek flashlights. Years ago I got sick and tired of replacing plastic bodied flashlights that kept breaking on me. The switches would short out and fell on me, or the bodies would get destroyed, or things like that. I'm sure some of you out there have similar experiences. I had some of the cheap Petzls, some of the more expensive Petzls, Diamondback headlamps, a variety of different headlamps, and most of them over the years have failed me at one time or another. I eventually got sick of that, and a few years ago I started shopping for a flashlight that would stand the test of time, and where that led me was to an Armytek Wizzard Pro. It was the older model of this flashlight here. Now that flashlight was not cheap. I was used to spending anywhere from $20 to $50 or so on a headlamp, and that flashlight was like $80. And I thought, well, I guess we'll see. It's all aluminum body. We'll see if it holds up. It had great ratings for water resistance and shock resistance, and I'll talk about those a little bit later with these flashlights, but I ended up pulling the trigger on it. I have used that flashlight for many years since, and the thing is virtually indestructible. You could take it out and throw it up in the air and let it land on the concrete, and it will still work without a problem. You could drop it in the water, and assuming that you can find it in the water, you're not going to have a problem. Like, you are not going to destroy one of those flashlights. At least that's been my experience. I did quite a bit of hiking at nighttime with my wife. For those of you who haven't tried that, some people will tell you don't do it because, you know, it can be dangerous and stuff like that. I'm not discounting any of that. But when it's super hot in the summertime, depending on where you live, hiking at night can be a really neat experience because it's way cooler. You can hike at a much higher pace without overheating and stuff like that. It's a pretty neat experience. When you're doing that, if you've got a flashlight that the switch is shorting out on you, or isn't working properly, or the runtime's lousy, or whatever, that can become a problem. But anyway, of course, flashlights have many other uses. Now, I've got a couple of these flashlights here under ice. These are newer models, so before I recommended them to anybody, I wanted to make sure I put them through the ringer, and I've done quite a bit of testing. I've been taking them to work with me. They get used very frequently, and they are not, treated with gentle hands. I'm not worried about dropping them. I'm not worried about any of that type of stuff. They get knocked against stuff and all kinds of things, and I haven't had any problems with them. But to kind of illustrate a point, some people do things like this, and I have enough confidence in these things that I dropped them in this water, froze them in this block of ice, and if I had a good way to film it, I'd take this thing outside and go drop it off of a building for you to break the ice, pull the flashlights out. Instead, I'll just break them here on the table today. But I have a lot of confidence that these things aren't going to fail. I feel the same way about these that I do particular firearms or particular pieces of equipment. All of you guys probably have your own pieces of equipment you feel that way about, that it's like, yeah, I have a lot of confidence in that particular knife or that particular, handgun or that particular thing because you have a lot of experience with it and it's never let you down. So that's where I'm coming from with my review on these Armytek flashlights. Now, one of the things that I really like about them is their full aluminum body. So that right there makes them super strong, almost indestructible. Then they have great features in terms of their shock resistance and their water resistance. These are supposed to be submersible. This particular Partner C2 Pro, 10 meters, up to 10 meters deep, so 30 feet for 5 hours. It is shock resistant up to 10 meters, or impact resistant up to 10 meters. And then I also really like the run times on these. These all take 18650s. I've switched over to that for most of my weapon lights. I've switched over to that for just my everyday carry flashlights because you get longer run times and you get a lot more output with that type of power source. And the longest run time on a Partner C2 is 40 days on its lowest setting. Now, you would think that's crazy, and the setting is barely visible. These two lights that are in here are actually turned on, and if I turn the lights off, you might be able to see them glowing, but that would be a bit of a headache. Anyway, I'll show you when I pull them out that they're turned on. But on the lowest setting, it's hardly even visible light. You would think that would be useless, but when you're backpacking or camping or something and you just need to locate something in the tent and it's pitch black, it's actually plenty of light to be able to do that. Now, the Wizzard flashlight's longest run time is 200 days. I actually took my old Wizzard Pro because I didn't believe some of the runtime claims, And I actually turned it on various settings with a full charge and timed it to see if it would actually meet the run times they advertised. And it did until I got to where the run times were getting into like 2 weeks, 40 days, 100 days, and I gave up just because it was like, I am not going to wait 100 days, you know, to see if this thing goes dead. I actually took a Wizzard Pro headlamp and turned it on one of those lower settings as a night light in my kid's bedroom, and I just left it there for, you know, weeks and weeks on end, and it just would run and run and run. I never had it go dead. I mean, eventually I just took it and pulled the battery out, charged it anyway, even though it wasn't dead. But I believe the run times, the advertised run times they have on here, because I've actually tested some of that. So the features in terms of durability, shock resistance, water resistance, and run times and output are all great. Now this Wizzard Pro here, this newest model, the output on it is advertised as 2300 lumens. And if you look on their website, it says like 2300 lumens, and then out the front lumens, they have another rating. And I don't understand all of that types of stuff. I know different companies advertise things differently and rate things differently, and I don't know that there's one standard, but they can go super bright, like blindingly bright, that it will illuminate everything. It makes it to where a person like can't even look into the light if it were pitch black outside or if it were dark outside, and you shine one of these in their face, like they'd have a problem. So anyway, you know, take that information for what it's worth. So I guess I'm going to pull these out of here and look at them and walk you through some of the features and disassemble some of these. These ones are ones I haven't opened yet, and I haven't tested them. I've just been testing these two that I've got here. I've had to reshoot this video enough times that it looks like this has started to melt. So I'm probably going to have a little bit of a mess on my hands. So give me 1 second. I'm going to go grab something to dump all this water into so I don't make as big a mess. All right, I'm back. So yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at these. Like I said, I turned the lights out off before and looked at them just to see if they were running, and they were, which doesn't surprise me at all. So dump this stuff out here, take these things out, and make a huge freaking mess. So I don't know if you can see, but that light is actually on there. It's not on very bright. Let me finish breaking it the rest of the way out of there and all. So like I said, the body of these is all aluminum. So I'm not the least bit worried about thumping it a little bit with this hammer or throwing it off a roof or whatever else a guy might do with this thing. So you can see me changing the brightness there. It was on the dimmest. These things will actually, on their brightest setting, if you crank this way up, will get so hot that it probably never would have let this ice freeze in a freezer. So that's something to be aware of, but that's one of the reasons why I turn them on, you know, a lower setting. If you were to have any problems with these related to cold, it would probably be more about the battery than anything. Now this is the angled head, you know, it's Wizzard Pro, this is the headlamp. I carry mine with this clip, and I actually keep this band with me in my bag that I take to work. So if I need a headlamp, I'll drop it in there. But I actually find that a lot of the time a guy can just clip this to his hat, take this clip and rotate the clip on the body of the flashlight like this. Well, not this way, this way. And then you can clip this thing to the brim of your hat and actually have this headlamp sitting down below and angle it however you want and use it just clipped right to your hat or stuff like that. Clip it to your shirt because of the angled head, which is pretty cool. You can just clip it on the inside of your shirt and you've got light shining in front of you. Anyway, so works great. Let me try to throw some of this in a bowl so I don't have a giant mess, and we'll get the other one of these out. And this is the Partner C2 Pro. I have less experience with this model of flashlight from Armytek. I don't think they've been, I know they haven't been making them as long as they made the Wizzard. Armytek probably wouldn't appreciate me showing people things like this and telling them that this is normal use. But like I said, I'm trying to illustrate how much confidence I have in these particular lights. So this one has a tactical like tail switch that some people might be interested in for everyday carry, and then just a pocket clip on it. They do come with a sheath, and so that's the way I carry mine, is in a little sheath on my belt. But anyway, this button back here is to turn it either continuously on. Well, let me turn the brightness up so you can see it. So it's on. So basically what you've got here is you've got a button on top that changes the different brightness settings, and then a tail switch that you can use. Turn it up so you can see it. And you can turn it all the way on, all the way off, or you can just half press it, you know, to turn it temporarily on. So some people will be interested in that. Anyway, like I said, I'm not going to go through absolutely every technical specification on these things in terms of the weight and every single runtime and every mode they've got. You'll have to look that up yourselves, but they do have a great range of run times and brightness settings and all that kind of stuff. They are fantastic flashlights. Now the Wizzard Pro used to come with, for the headband, it used to come with like a rubber silicone type headband, and you'd basically have to jam it in there in order to put the headlamp inside of the headband. And what they've gone to now is basically just this, it's like an O-ring that retains the headlamp. So you can take this, if it's not frozen on, pocket clip off, which they beef those up quite a bit. They're better, much better than they used to be. You just drop this thing in there like that, pull this thing over, and that's the way this goes. So I keep the band with me in my bag and stuff because there's sometimes you really want to have that. Anyway, that's the reason why I carry it the way I happen to carry it. But yeah, so that's the way this works. Now, one of the things that you can get, if I've got it, sorry, I got to reach over here and get it. You can get for these lights is a pressure switch. For any of you who are interested in mounting one of these lights on a rifle, you can get a pressure switch like this. You just unscrew this tail cap, screw this tail cap on, just like pressure switch for most anything else. Mount that on your rifle, and you've got a weapon mounted light. I've got one here. I actually bought a whole bunch of these when they came out with these partners just a little while ago, and I put one on every single one of my ARs because I think they're the best flashlight you can buy for the money for that type of an application. I think the retail price on these is somewhere in the neighborhood of between $60 and $80, depending on the model that you happen to get, the power source. If you go with like AA powered ones and stuff like that, I think they get cheaper. CR123s might be a little cheaper. 18650s, I think they consider pretty much their flagship for these model of flashlights, the 18650 powered ones, and they are a bit more expensive. Now I'm going to show you some more features of this Wizzard Pro. Well, let me show you this Partner C2 Pro first here. I will mention that for any of you who get the pressure mounted switch, if you happen to want to run that, which I'm not on my ARs, I thought I would, so I got one for each one. And then actually the way I've got it mounted, I really don't need it. But they do not have a continuous on. There is no clicker in here to actually click it. It's only temporary, so it's just as long as you're holding pressure, it's on. If you let it off, it's off. So that's something to be aware of. Now, let's look at, this is how I've got mine mounted on one of my rifles here. I know it's not exactly sitting back where you would think it would be sitting. It's mounted a little far forward or whatever. Well, there's a reason for that. I had a difficult time like finding a mount. This mount did not fit this body real great. It fit the tail cap, which if I show you this light I got sitting here, you can see how the tail cap is bigger than the rest of the body of the flashlight. And that's actually what's holding this light on, is the tail cap. So that's the reason why mine ended up getting mounted the way it was mounted. I didn't have, and I didn't want to return the mount if I could make it work, didn't have a mount that would fit just inside this center section. And I can't give you the dimensions for that. That's probably going to be a tricky thing to get sorted out, but I'm sure you can find something that won't give you any trouble mounting it. Now you'll notice the way I mounted mine, I mounted it so that the switch is actually down. And the reason why I did that is because I just set this on the brightness I want it on when I go to grab one of my rifles and want it to be ready to go. I don't want to accidentally bump something in it to go super dim or too brighter than I wanted or any of that crap. I don't plan on messing with the brightness settings. I just set it, mounted it in a way that it's mounted inwards towards the rifle so it's not accidentally going to get bumped, and that's just where I'm going to leave it. So anyway, yeah, I just mounted it so I can press this with the back of my thumb when I'm holding my rifle, and no problem, works great. And I talked to Armytek about mounting those, and they were like, yeah, these things are designed to be mounted. You shouldn't have any problem with them. I've gone out and shot with them on some of my rifles. They haven't had any hiccups at all. They handled the recoil and stuff, no problem. So I'm not the least bit worried about it. They wouldn't be making these pressure mounted switches if they weren't designed for that type of an application. Now I'm going to talk a little bit more about the Wizzard Pro and some of its features. I'm going to have to open this box here because I don't have the accessories, but this particular model of the Wizzard Pro has a USB charger, a magnetic USB charger, which is pretty cool in a lot of ways, and then in just one way I found I don't like it, but for the most part I like it. So this is the way it works. You take this little USB charger, and the thing so as far as the things I like about this feature is it will charge. You don't need a separate charger. You can charge your light just with this little magnetic charger that's included with the light. The headlamp includes a battery, the cord, everything. So if you buy one of these lights, you're probably not going to have to buy another battery for it for several years. It includes one with it. You'll just leave it in the flashlight and use this charger. And the way this charger works is you just hook it on here and you twist the back of this thing like a half twist like that until the light shuts off. Usually you'd have the light off, but this thing will actually be glowing green or red or whatever color, and once you twist it a half turn, it will indicate that the light is charging. And then when the light's done, in order to get it to work, of course, you just pull this thing back off, twist it back on, and turn the light on, because, you know, usually it would be off. But anyway, that's a really neat feature, because if you're taking this light with you to work or in your bag or wherever all the time, you've got a charger with the light and everything at all times. You can just plug it in your car, you can plug it in anywhere and charge it. So that's pretty cool. I keep it that way with this tail cap and everything because I like that feature. Now, the thing I don't like about this magnetic tail cap, it adds a little bit of weight, which I've heard some people complain about. But one kind of unexpected thing that I found with it is when I was working on my car, crawling underneath it, changing a timing belt on our van, I got a little bit too close to some of the magnetic parts under the vehicle. And just the tight space that I happened to be in, I think I had my head up under a wheel well or something in the car, I kept running this thing into magnetic stuff, and it would stick to those parts of the car, and that can be irritating. So if you're a mechanic, you can buy different tail caps for these off of Armytek's websites, and you can buy some that do not require this magnetic aspect here. You can get some that are non-magnetic. You'll just have to charge your batteries another way in a separate charger, or swap the cap back on to be able to charge it. But while you're using it, you don't have to worry about this thing, you know, sticking anything. Oh, that's aluminum. I didn't know this end piece was. I thought maybe it was steel, but all the rest of this, of course, is aluminum. Anyway, so that's the only downside I found with that. But I think it's worth the trade-off probably for most people to be able to have a built-in charger. As far as the weight of these things, not super light. Between an 18650 battery plus plus this magnetic tail cap and stuff like that, they are not a lightweight light. They're not necessarily designed to be the most lightweight light. That's why they're not plastic, any of that. They're designed to be like borderline indestructible. I don't think, yeah, the head of this doesn't separate on this one. I'll show you on this one and then show you the other one. For those of you who aren't familiar, that's what an 18650 looks like. This is the battery that's included with it. They have double O-ring seals so that no water can get into this thing, and a pretty stout spring to be able to hold everything into place. Anyway, yeah, pretty awesome. So they include that headband, the charger, I think a few extra parts for the thing, and then a clip like this that you can snap on it, and then a sheath. They also include a sheath with these, just like they include a sheath with the partner. So you can carry it that way, a variety of great options. Now, there are a lot of really good coupon codes out there for these Armytek flashlights. I can't remember where I found mine, but it was significant. I've seen some that range from 10% off all the way up to like 30% off. And so for these flashlights, when you take into consideration that, okay, it's an $80 light, but I can get, you know, a 30% off coupon or 20% off coupon, Then they're getting into the price to where you would be buying, if you were buying a Streamlight or Surefire's offerings. Surefire makes some great flashlights, but they sure are proud of them with what they charge. With these, in my opinion, you're getting the quality of some of Surefire's extremely expensive flashlights at a price of Surefire's cheapest flashlights. Like, I think some of the Surefire G2s they make with a Palmer body. Streamlight makes a few flashlights with a Palmer body that are like $60, $70 range. There are other companies that make some that are aluminum bodied in that range, but they're not as robustly built as these. They don't have nearly as many features. A lot of the time they don't have as good a run times on either end, or I mean as good a run times or as good a output. Anyway, so in my opinion, you're going to be hard pressed to find something better than this. Now, the Armytek C2 Pro, they make some other, or Armytek partner C2 Pro, they make another partner that does not have a tactical tail cap. You actually turn the light on the same way you turn on the Wizzard. So you just basically press a button like this to cycle through the different modes on the flashlight. Well, this one has the tail cap, and so what that means is you can swap it out for a pressure switch, but you can't swap it out for a blank cap because this is where the flashlight is activated. Whereas on this flashlight or the other model of partner, it's activated on just the regular switch on the light. So for everyday carry, some guys might not want this switch. They might want it activated just like a regular flashlight instead of having this tactical tail cap. And I think that they also make a magnetic USB version for one of those partner lights. Obviously, you can't make a magnetic USB version or a USB charging version of this because of the way it's activated and all that. You'd have to switch the caps off, or the tail caps off all the time, stuff like that. So that's the problem you would run into with that. So be aware of that if you're looking at Armytek's lineup, deciding what you want to get. Now this one comes with the sheath, comes with the clip and stuff, of course, double O-ring, same as the other one. Here's my old 18650s I've been running for years. And then it pulls apart right here too for the head, the emitter. They sell replacement bodies, they sell replacement tail caps, you can get replacement O-rings, any of the parts you need you can get off their website, and they are really reasonable with their price, unlike a lot of the other companies that you see out there that just charge a ridiculous amount for stuff like that. So put this back together. Anyway, so you know, that's the ins and outs of these couple flashlights that I got. I've reached out to Armytek for many years trying to get them to send me a lot of their flashlights in their lineup because I wanted to review them. After I bought my initial Wizzard Pro, I liked the thing so much, I'm like, guys, send me more of these. Nobody knows about them. I'm very interested in reviewing them and promoting them, and that's because I think they're the best thing going. The way I run my channel is if there's a company that makes a great product, I'm happy to, you know, tell everybody how great the product is, assuming that I test it and it actually holds up to the claims that, you know, the company makes or other people are making. If I get a product from a company or I buy it myself and the product is garbage, you guys never see a review of it because I send it back to the company and tell them, you need to go back to the drawing board on this product. It doesn't work right. I've done that with far more products than I brought to the table. Meaning I have sent back more products because they had issues or chosen not to review or recommend them because I didn't think it was a good product, and I can't in good conscience tell somebody, hey, this is the most amazing thing ever, you know, selling my soul for a free this or that. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, I probably bought 6 of these from Armytek and was planning on reviewing them and wrote them a letter and said, hey, I ordered more of these from you guys. Like, are you ever going to let me review these? And I noticed other channels had been reviewing these flashlights, and I'm like, why have they never responded to me? I've written them letters for like the last 4 or 5 years. I'm one of the first people that released a video after I realized like how awesome the lights were. And funny enough, they sent me these 2 that are still brand new in the package that I haven't even messed with. I took the 2, well, of the 6 that I bought, I think I bought 2 Wizzard Pros for one for me and one for my wife in the newer model. And then I bought like 4 of these, gave one to my brother, and then I have the other 3 mounted on rifles, or other 4 mounted on rifles, however many I got. Anyway, I haven't even opened the ones that they sent me. So when I tell you, like, I really wouldn't be recommending this if I didn't think they were some of the best flashlights that you can buy for the money, you know, believe me, you can ask anybody that knows me, whatever. I just wouldn't even have brought them to the table. Like I said, I've sent a lot of things back. So anyway, excellent flashlights. I think there should be way more information out there about them. A few things to be aware of when you order these from Armytek. It says that they're made in Canada. I can't remember if the first one I bought was, or I mean designed in Canada is what it says now, something like that. Let's see if I can find here. I don't see it on this particular thing. Maybe it's on this other one I was looking at. Something about being designed in Canada, but I'm pretty sure these are manufactured in China now. I can't remember if the original one I bought was manufactured in Canada or China. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to put a couple of these through the ringer to find out if they were going to hold up, if there was any difference, if it seemed like they were lesser quality. There's nothing like that going on with these things. So the thing you need to be aware of when you order them is sometimes they're on back order because they're gaining popularity, and then because they're shipping a lot of these from overseas, I don't believe from Canada, I think they're manufactured in China nowadays, but because they're shipping them from China, it might take you like a month to get them. I don't know how long I waited for mine, but it was a good long while. Anyway, in my opinion, it's worth the wait. They're great flashlights. I highly recommend them. That concludes my review for the Armytek Wizzard Pro and the Armytek Partner C2. If you guys have any other questions, you want to know more information about the lights, any of that type of stuff, I'll probably put a link in the bottom of my video. I think Armytek offered to send me some promo code thing. I usually don't mess with any of that garbage, so you'll just have to look up Armytek discount code. I'm sure there are other YouTubers or other people who are interested in trying to make some kind of money off that stuff. I could care less. You'll just have to shop for your own coupons. But anyway, if you have any other questions about these flashlights, technical specifications, anything like that, get on their website and find out for yourselves, you know, what all the technical specifications are for. I don't get into that stuff on my channel. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.